Hi, hello everybody. Got my suspenders on today. It is Tuesday. Just checking in. Today would be a day where we would normally just review real quickly the two body systems that we've been covering, and then I would direct you to the objectives and make sure that you've got all of your homework done up to this point. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll try to make this quick. There are a few important stops I want to make along the way, so bear with me in those spots. But we'll make this as quick as possible, and I'll show you what you got to do. And off you'll be running for the next day or so. So let's have a fact of the day so that we can get started, and that is the spotted salamander, probably migrating, coming out of the holes last night. It was pretty warm last night. Is one of the few known vertebrates to carry out photosynthesis. Young spotted salamanders have algae inside of their skin cells, and they're carrying out photosynthesis, a endosymbiotic relationship, basically making them one of the only known vertebrates to carry out photosynthesis. So if you saw the spotted salamanders last night, those baby ones are going to be carrying out photosynthesis. Okay, so why do we maintain homeostasis, right? We want to keep cells happy despite what's going on outside. Whether you're running and you need more oxygen, whether you have just eaten, whether you are sleeping, whether you are hot or cold, whatever it is, all these systems of the body are going to help to keep your cells happy despite what's going on outside or despite what you're asking your body to do. The two body systems that we're focusing on first are digestive and respiratory system, right? The whole thing about the digestive system is to get those big molecules into little ones so they can fit into cells, a la the diffusion lab. So I went into school and I got a very expensive piece of my demo apparatus to show you how this term peristalsis works, right? When you eat food, after you've chewed it up, right? You eat food, you chew it up, you have a bolus, chewed up food, and then you swallow it, right? Now, it doesn't just go kerplunk into your stomach, right? You have to move it down. That's what peristalsis is. So, I went into school to get my esophagus. Pause for laughter. Actually, hang on a second. Let's try that again. Wait for this one. So I call this my esophagus. Thank you. And this is used to just show you how peristalsis works. It's also the approximate length, 11 inches, of a person's average esophagus, showing that, remember, your stomach is up here. So when you have a tummy ache or your stomach hurts, it's usually intestinal distress, if you want to be the actually guy. So anyways, here's how this works. We take our esophagus, we have our bolus or bolus, chewed food here, and we swallow. Now it's a set of rhythmic contractions above and rhythmic relaxation of muscles, right, where it is squeezing the food down, the bolus down into your stomach. Well, peristalsis doesn't just exist in your esophagus. It also exists in your intestines to move that food all the way through. As well, it is used in your veins to pump blood back to the cells. So that's one important term, right? Bolus is your chewed food. Chyme is what happens after it comes out of the stomach. That's going to be one of your objectives. Besides that, we've covered everything, right? Energy and nutrients are what we want to get out of food. The number one nutrient being water, carbs, fats, and proteins. Of course, we need vitamins and minerals in small quantities. The respiratory system's job is to get the oxygen out of the air into our cells, as well as get the CO2 that we've created. CO2 is a waste product, out of our cells and into the air again. So we do that. Nasal passages are very important. I know it seems weird, but they condition the air, they moisten the air, gross as that is, but to add water vapor to the air, it helps the diffusion of the oxygen into your blood. So this is a very important stop for the air to make it into your blood. The rest of these are just kind of tubes until you get to the alveoli. Here's another interesting fact. Alveoli are tiny air sacs, right, for exchange, maximizing the surface area, right? If you just had to have 2 air sacs in each side, they'd have to be 40 feet in diameter. But since you have millions and millions of little air sacs, they equal a set of lungs that would have to be 40 feet in diameter. So there's your surface area fact as well. I also showed you the importance of the diaphragm in moving air in and out of your lungs, right? You don't have muscles in your throat or in your lungs themselves. You just have your good old diaphragm and a vacuum tight air sealed chamber above. And so I believe that covers all the parts. The other important thing here, the toughest concept for the average student to get when it comes to this body system, is how we get oxygen to our cells. 2-step process. Okay, we've already been over breathing, we've been over cell respiration and how that's different from these 2 respirations. Just remember, your blood is the middleman, it is the delivery boy. So we have to have 2 steps. There's all this oxygen in the air, even though the air is mostly nitrogen, right? And so we've got to take in this air, nasal passages, condition it, moisten it, cool it, whatever they got to do, filter it, right? Nose hairs are gross, but you need them. And then once that air is nice, the oxygen diffuses right into your blood. Well, it has a little help of my favorite term, hemoglobin. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, that pulls that oxygen into your blood. Like ships passing in the night, though, CO2 diffusing right out into the air. There goes the CO2. But if we were to follow the oxygen is going to travel through the bloodstream and go to the cells. The capillary is the point where blood meets cells, and this is where we have that final exchange, internal respiration, right? Because it's taking place inside the body where the oxygen goes into the cells, and like ships passing in the night, the CO2 goes back into the blood and off its way out. Cells are happy they got their oxygen, as well as dishing off their CO2. So it's a 2-step process, and a lot of people struggle with that. Okay, so we can look at it this way. This is where we are focusing so far, right? Where we have a alimentary canal that goes through us, right? Our food doesn't really enter our body until it diffuses into our blood. Most of our food just passes through our body, which is weird to think about. And we're also looking at how air enters our body, and we get the oxygen in and the CO2 out. Okay, where our next stop is to focus on the blood and how these nutrients and this oxygen come in contact with the cells, and the next exchange is done. And then, of course, we'll pick up talking about this guy and these guys again when it comes to getting rid of wastes. But that is as far as I wanted to go in normal stuff. So let's let's look at what I want you guys to be doing. All right, homeostasis and human body objectives. I'd like you to make a copy of this when I share it on Google Classroom and just start working on it. This is everything. There's like a zillion objectives. Okay, I'm exaggerating as usual, but 78. So just share this with me as a full document and just fill it in as we go. Of course, we are up to number 12. Okay, number 12 covers digestive, respiration, and of course, just regular old homeostasis. So I'll share this document on Google Classroom shortly. So that will be your assignment for the next day or so. If you don't remember, I added 153 through 156 for homework. Okay, and I'll also write this down on the post when I share this document and the slideshow with you as well. So that's everything for biology from the basement. This is Mr. Andraco signing off. I miss you guys. I hope that you're staying safe, and please feel free to email me with any questions. I am constantly on call with my computer and my iPad and my cell phone, so don't be afraid to contact me, as this is my job. Make sure you're learning something. So since we're going to be doing this for a while longer, I want you to make sure you're picking up these concepts. And since we can't have those wonderful discussions that we normally do, feel free to ask via email. Okay, you guys stay safe.